key signature is a way for composers to notate the accidentals found in a piece of music, or in a scale. Accidentals are the black keys on a keyboard, and are designated by a sharp sign or flat sign before each note. Accidentals can also be a natural sign, which negates the sharp or flat. And the name of it is neutral. Well, if the music calls for a bunch of black keys, using accidental throughout the piece becomes extremely cumbersome and cluttered. And there's a way around this, and that's key signatures. Key signatures are located at the beginning of the piece, and show how many accidentals can be found in the piece. Let's look at an example. Remember when we built the D major scale, a few videos back? Well, D major, to remind you, is D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. So there are 2 sharps in the key of D major. If our piece were written based around the D major scale, we can show that by writing the accidentals, F sharp, and C sharp at the beginning of the piece. So, if you see 2 sharps at the beginning of a song, you are in the key of D major. Now there's some qualifications here. It's possible for 2 sharps to mean something else as well, but we'll get into that in a minute. Remember we also looked at F sharp minor a few videos ago? F sharp minor, which is whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole, is F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp. F sharp minor has 3 sharps, and we can show that at the beginning of the piece as well. This way, we don't have to write accidentals throughout the piece. So if you see 3 sharps of the beginning, it means throughout the piece, when you encounter F, G, or C, you play them as sharps. You play them F sharp, G sharp, and C sharp. Got it? So 3 sharps mean F sharp minor. As I said before, there are some qualifications here, so let's talk about that next. The first 2 examples of major and minor scales were C major and A minor. Let's look at them together. C major is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. A minor is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Notice how both scales have no sharps and no flats. There aren't any accidentals. They share this common bond, so in essence, a minor is exactly like C major, except they start on different notes. But they both use all the same notes. This relationship has a name, and they're called relative keys. Relative keys are major and minor scales that have the same key signature. So if you see a piece of music that has no sharps and no flats at the beginning, it's either in C major or A minor. Make sense? Let's look at another example. We'll build another major scale. The G major. We use the formula, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And so using that, the scale comes out to G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. The key of G major has 1 sharp. I'm gonna tell you a little trick to help you figure out the relative minor of the major key. This is what it is. It's the 6th note of a major scale. So in this case the 6th note of G major is E. So E minor is the relative minor to G major. Let's check it. So, E minor is this scale and we'll use the pattern. Whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole. For E minor, it's E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, and E. Both have 1 sharp, F sharp. If you see a song with 1 sharp at the beginning, it's either G major or E minor. And E minor is exactly like G major. They both use all the same notes, but they start on different notes. And the cool thing is, even though they use all of the same notes, where they start, makes a huge difference in tone and quality and how they sound. Major and minor scales sound completely different, even though they share the same key signature and thus all the same notes. Where you start makes all of the difference. One fun thing that you can do is play C major scale starting on different notes. So for instance, C major, as we said, is all the white keys. It's C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. No sharps, no flats, no accidentals. We already talked about what happens when you play all the notes in C major, but start on A. It becomes the relative minor, minor. You can try it on another starting note, and you will notice sounds are completely different, despite using same notes. Let's go back to key signatures. So we discussed that key signatures tell us what scale the song is based on. But when you're looking at a key signature, how can you tell if it's a major or minor piece, if both share the same key signature? That's a great question. There are a few different ways, but the easiest is just to listen. Does the song sound like it's a minor or major overall? Also, say you're looking at a piece with one sharp. So it can be either G major or E minor. Does the song start or end on G or E? If it starts and ends on G, there's a pretty good chance it's in G major. Especially if what you're looking at is the melody of the song. There are other ways to tell, but we'll get into that later on. For now, you learn that key signature shows us which accidental should be played throughout the piece of music. Now sometimes more accidentals are needed in specific spots in a song. Perhaps you're in the key of A minor, but at some point, the composer wants a G sharp played. The composer would notate that G sharp right in the song, not at the beginning. The reason for this is the G sharp happens infrequently, and a song in the key of A minor doesn't inherently have a G sharp. So the composer takes it on a case-by-case basis. The same is true for other accidentals, like flats and natural signs. You can have a B flat in a minor song, you just notate that within the piece. In the next video, we will discuss ways of figuring out key signatures, and I will introduce you to the circle of fifths.